Good morning, everyone. Since the time we all have been in the room, how many times your phone has buzzed notification? A dozen or more. A reminder about a meeting, an email or submission, a message from a friend. It's a constant flood, isn't it?
On behalf of my teammate Prateek, Piyush, Sandesh, Rudra, Pushkar, and myself Anusara, I welcome you. We are first semester students of IT branch of NIT Raipur. We as students beginning our journey, we have experienced this battle that everyone in this room is fighting. The battle of clock and will continue to do so.
Of all the resources we have in our disposal, time is the most precious thing we have. We are told that in order to have success in life, we have to manage our time perfectly. We make to-do lists, set our schedules, and also to fit everything in, we manage our time. Yet we fails.
We treat our time like an old metal filing cabinet, trying to stuff more and more papers into drawers that are already overflowing. But what if the entire model is outdated? The world we live in today, a world of instant communication and constant demand, doesn't work like an metal filing cabinet.
It works like a cloud server, infinitely complex and always on, interconnected, and the old methods are not good enough anymore. And the result is burnout, stressful, and the constant feeling that we are feeling behind everyone.
Our search for a better approach led us to an insightful TEDx talk by Rory Vaden, who is an author, self-discipline strategist, and co-founder of Southwestern Consulting. His idea was so significant that the only way we could do justice to his idea was by imitating his presentation entirely.
And therefore, our goal is to introduce an powerful idea so that we can go beyondly managing our time and truly learn how to multiply it. We hope this video would help everyone, no matter at what stage of life they are in. Thank you.
You may have thought we have started late, but it is ironic that the first speaker is the author of the book, Procrastinate on Purpose. How is it that we have more tips and tricks, tools and technology, calendars and checklists than ever before, and yet we are still always behind? How is it that we are working for longer hours and are moving faster than ever before in the history of mankind, and yet we never seem to be caught up? How is it that we know more about time management today, and yet the stress among human beings is at an all-time high? The reason for that is everything you know about time management is wrong. I first started to realize this a couple of years ago. It was an early Saturday morning, and I was at my business partner Dustin's house. I was there to pick him up for an important international leaders planning retreat. And Dustin has a 2-year-old baby girl named Haven, and Haven is this cutest and sweetest little thing you can imagine. Curly brown hair, sweet and soft brown eyes, and since we live in Nashville, she has a little southern accent that's developing. And as we are about to leave Dustin's house for the meeting, Haven came sprinting down the hallway, leapt and latched onto Dustin's leg and looked at him. Dustin looked at her with a sorrowful face and told her, "Sorry, baby Haven, Daddy actually has to go to work today." And Haven, with her teary eyes, looked at him and said, "No, Daddy, please, no work today. No, Daddy." And although I failed at recreating the emotional conversation between a father and a daughter, that incident did made me realize two things. The first, I'm not ready to have kids myself. And the second is that everything we know about time management is somewhat incorrect. The parts we do know and implement in our lives, such as calendars, to do lists, and tips and tricks from other people, are logical. It's all logic. But what 2-year-old Haven made me realize that day is time management is as emotional, as logical, in the modern era. We're not only fighting against time, we're also fighting against our own emotions. Emotions such as fear, anxiety, guilt, worry, frustration. These emotions govern a lot of our daily actions and day to day life, as much as our calendars and checklists too. Think about your own life, for example. Why is it that sometimes we pause our own work or urgent studies to help a friend, even though our own deadline is still a few hours away? It's not a logical choice, it's an emotional one, driven by the guilt of saying no and the desire to appear helpful to other people. Why do we say yes to certain group activities or projects that we have zero interest in? We know it's a waste of our time, but we do that because we don't want to appear uncooperative or unfriendly. We constantly check our notifications from the phone. We don't want to miss out on anything. It's notifications from Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, or any other social media. We don't want to appear unfriendly or rude. The driving forces behind our daily actions are, in fact, not our organized calendars. In fact, they are our disorganized emotions. And whenever people see that they're not being as productive as they thought, they're unable to accomplish tasks that they decided that they should in this time frame, they start doing what they start doing mostly is download a fancy calendar, start making a new to-do list from scratch, and it's completely wrong. What they are trying to do essentially is engineer a solution for a problem that does not exist in calendars. It exists in our hearts. It's an emotional problem. The feeling of not doing enough, it's not a scheduling problem, it's a feeling of inadequacy. The fear of disappointing a colleague, it's not a workflow issue, it's a fear of conflict. An app won't solve that. And in reality, there is nothing called time management. The only thing that exists is self management. Manage yourself, manage your emotions, and your time gets automatically managed. Time continues to move forward, whether you like it or not. It will keep moving forward, and we cannot stop it. And the journey of self management does not begin by downloading a new productivity app, downloading a fancy calendar, or downloading a new to do list and start creating it from scratch. The journey of self management begins by introspection and looking inwards. That is the first big realization I had.
In order for you to understand the second, I want to take you on a quick history of time management theory. And that really began in the late 50s and 60s during the Industrial Revolution. And early time management thought was one dimensional and it was all based on efficiency. This was the era of the factory, the assembly line, and the stopwatch. Thinkers like Frederick Taylor championed what they called scientific management, which was a fancy term for figuring out how to make human beings behave as predictively and efficiently as a machine. The core belief was that every task, from assembling a car to managing your day, could be broken down, measured, and optimized for maximum output. The idea was with efficiency was that if we could develop tools and technology to help us do things faster, then theoretically that would give us more time. Well, there's nothing wrong with efficiency. All things being equal, efficiency is better. And yet, there is an unfortunate limitation to efficiency as a strategy for time management. And it is evidenced by the fact that we all carry miniature computers in our pocket, and yet we are still never caught up. The problem is efficiency has no conscience. It doesn't ask if the task you are doing faster is actually worth doing at all. Efficiency just make the hamster wheel spin faster. It doesn't ask if we should even be on the wheel in the first place. Doing a meaningless task with 100% efficiency is still a 100% waste of time. In the late 80s, era of time management thinking emerged. I feel like it was pretty much handled single-handedly rehearsed by the late great Dr. Stephen Covey. And Dr. Covey introduced what we are referring to as two-dimensional thinking. He gave us something called the time management matrix, where the x-axis was urgency and the y-axis was importance. This was a massive leap forward. For the first time, we had a framework that forced us to think not just how fast we were doing things, but about what we were doing. The beauty about this was that it gave us a system for scoring a task, and then based on how they scored on these two tasks, we could prioritize tasks. Prioritizing is all about focusing first on what matters most. And for the last 20 years, this has been the pervasive mode of thinking as it relates to time management theory. It's not that anything wrong with prioritizing. In fact, prioritizing is as valuable as a skill today as it ever has been in history. Even though we throw that word like it's the end all and be all to time management theory, right? We say, get your priorities straight, or you don't have the right priorities. Well, unfortunately, maybe that's not really the case because there is a massive limitation to prioritizing that nobody ever talks about. And that is this there's nothing about prioritizing that create more time. Let that sink in. Prioritizing does not create time. It is a zero sum game. All prioritizing does is take item number 7 from your to do list to item number 1, which is valuable in and of itself, but it doesn't do anything inherently to create more time. And it does nothing to help you accomplish the other items on your to do list.
If you think about prioritizing, it's really about borrowing time from one activity to spend on another. It's a strategy of shuffling, not a strategy of creation. It's kind of like juggling. And that's exactly how we even talk about time. We say things like, I'm juggling a lot, or I'm trying to balance everything on my plate. And that language itself is revealing. Juggling is frantic, stressful, and exhausting. It requires constant movement just to keep things from crashing down. The moment you pause or slow down, everything falls apart. Balance isn't much different. It's a fragile state, easily disrupted by even the smallest unexpected events. And honestly, isn't that exactly how the world feels most of the time? Like we're just a bunch of juggling hamsters, sprinting forward until the inevitable and chaotic crash landing. But here's the truth. You cannot solve today's time management problem with yesterday's time management thinking. What we have started noticing is the rise of new types of thinkers, someone we call a multiplier. These people seem to operate under an extremely different sets of rules. They accomplish extraordinary results without actually working, without juggling. They actually work for fewer hours yet seem to have more time. They move with calm and focus, qualities that are both rare and powerful. And that's because they use what we call three-dimensional thinking. While most people only make decisions based on urgency and importance, multipliers are making a third calculation, which is based on significance. Let's define this term clearly. Urgency asks how soon doesn't matter. It's a measure of clock. Importance asks how much does it matter. It's a measure of consequence. But significance asks an entirely different, far more powerful question. How long is this going to matter? It's a measure of endurance and impact, long-term vision. This is a completely different way of thinking. It does not throw away the old ideas, it builds on top of them. Because most of you think how most of us use a modern day to-do list. The question we usually ask is, what's the most important thing I can do today? But that's not how multipliers think. Multipliers ask, what can I do today that will make tomorrow better? Or what can I do right now that will improve the future? We are always making the significant calculation. Let's take an example. Answering an urgent client email is high urgency and high importance, but building a complete client onboarding process that inemptively answers questions that every client in the future, that is significant. Both are important, but only one solves a problem for today, while the other solves it for all the tomorrows. One is a time expense, whereas the other is a time investment. Here's another example. For health, grabbing fast food because you are busy, healthy is urgent and important. But spending 3 hours on a Sunday to meal prep healthy lunches for the entire week, that is significant. It's an investment of time today that pays you back every single day of the week with more time, more energy, and better health. That's the difference with multipliers. They have trained themselves to see these opportunities everywhere. They do not judge, manage today, they invest in tomorrow.
When I say multiply our time, that might sound a bit superfluous. It might sound like an over exaggeration, but really it's not. Now it is true that we all have the same time in day, and there's nothing any of us can do to create more time in a day. But that's exactly the problem. The type of thinking is the problem. It is two-dimensional thinking. We have to break out the paradigm and instead of thinking about tomorrow. And that brings us to the premises for how to multiply our time. The way you multiply our time is simple. You multiply our time by giving yourself the emotional permission to spend time on things today that gives you more time tomorrow. What's the significance calculation? The significance calculation changes everything. The focus funnel is our attempt to create a visual depiction that codifies the thought process the multipliers go through in their head unconsciously when they are evaluating how to spend their time. That's why someone create an extraordinary, explosive, and exponential results, and the other people seems to just create a linear trajectory. And it will work this if your task all comes into the top of the funnel. The first question a multiplier asks: Can I eliminate this? Is it worth doing? Another example of how everything you know about time management is wrong, or at least that is has to change, because most of us used to do list and multiply realize the next generation the time management has much more with what you don't do than you do. The multiplier realizes that perfection is achieved not only when nothing can be added, but nothing can be taken away. It is the permission to ignore, because everything that we say no today creates more time for us tomorrow. The emotional challenge is that we struggle with the guilt. We struggle with the wanting to say no, but really feeling like we have to say yes. And so we go through the life trying and to say no. In an interview on Multiplier, they said something that changed my life is fertile and no go through life. Trying to never say no. That's what you have to realize, that you are always saying no to something. Because anytime you say yes to one thing, you are simultaneously saying no to an infinite number of other things. Saying yes to that unnecessary meeting is saying no to 1 hour of deep focus work of your most significant projects. Saying yes to a mind scrolling social media is saying no to being the presence with your family. Now, if I can't eliminate the task, the next question that can automate it. Anything that I create process for today saves time tomorrow. It's like setting up online bills payment. I never have 2 hours in a day to set up an online bill payment. I just don't have time. And if I have 2 hours in a day, I would never be used it to settle my online bills. But a multiplier realizes that if I save 30 minutes a month for paying bills, and it makes a sense of investing those 2 hours just after 4 months, I will have broken ever. And every month thereafter, I will get something we call ROTI, that is return on time invested. Automation is your life exactly. That compounding interest is to your money. Just like compounding interest takes money and it makes into more money and more money. Automation takes time and it makes into more time and more time. The way the wealthy people think about money is exactly the same way a multiplier think about time. And they give themselves the permission to invest time or energy to automate the process. Each of the automation is buying another minute for your future life back.
If it can't be eliminated or automated, then the question is, can it be delegated? Can I teach someone else how to do this? I reminded of a time when I was 7 years old. I will never forget. I was in a car with my mom and I hit her with the question, Mom, do I have a dad? And as you might have imagined, that was pretty difficult to answer as a single mom to a 7 year old. And that was the first time she told about her life story. She was pregnant at 17, divorced a couple of years later, pregnant again at 22, and then she divorced my biological father 6 months after I was born. So there was she was, a 22 years old single mom, no high school education, and she explained to me, Rory, I have decided at this point of my life I would never have a man in my life because I haven't good luck with my men. And we may not have a dad, we not may have a lot, but I have decided we are going to have love. And we went and back forth. And I said, Mom, do you know, I love a family. I really do think. But don't you think that would be really cool to have a dad? So she said, Well, I will tell you, honey, if you don't want dad, why don't you go out and find yourself a good dad? What kind of crap was that? It just so happened to me at the first day at my new Shaolin Kung Fu center. I had been studying martial arts since I was 5. So they put me in all high school adult school and to be little more advanced. Another gentleman who walked in. It was his first day also. This guy was so much older than me. He had long hair, tattoos all up, all around his arms, leather jacket. He came on the motorcycle. This dude was about the scariest dude you can imagine if you're a 7 years old. He got paired with me as a sparring partner. His name was Kevin. He turned out to be pretty nice. We advanced our forms, built together. So Kevin started bringing me home from my classes. Every once in a while, soon Kevin came over the weekends and would practice our forms and we got a movie. And then before, mom came with us and joined us. So this was three of us going movie together. I will never forget the first time two of them went movie without me. And as you have turned out, Kevin and I was tested for a bell club, and together on the same day, I was 10 years old, and they got married 2 weeks later. A couple of years later, I changed my name from Rory McLean to Rory Vaden, and they had been married for 20 years ever since. And this point of story is you can delegate anything. But if you ask average person, are you going to have delegating to somebody else? We would say yes. Why don't you train somebody else to do this? What's most of us? Well, because they can't do, and I can. And that just maybe once, maybe twice, but it can be only absent on the significance calculation. If you think on the longer term, you will realize that they will able to master the task just like you were. The significance can change anything, everything. And it's how multiply your time. It's giving yourself a permission of imperfect. And for a little while, because of the initial investment of the time to train somebody else isn't the cost, it's the purchase price for your future freedom.
If you can't eliminate, automate, or delegate a task, the task drops out the bottom of the funnel. At the point, there's only one question: must it be done now, or can it wait until later? If the task must be done now, then that's what we call concentrate. It's the permission to protect your focus in a world which is engineered for distractions. Concentration is a superpower, the ability to shut out the noise, the notification, the open tabs, the endless stream of information, and dedicate your full attention to a single significant task is what separates amateur from professionals. The modern work culture is a culture of a constant interruption, and concentration is a rebellion against it. And honestly, there's nothing all that exciting or new here. It's something we all know, but sometimes forgot. However, if you ask the question, can this wait until later, and you decide that answer is yes, then let's not eliminate, automate, or delegate. That's what we call procrastinating on purpose. Now we are not going to procrastinate on it forever. We're going to pop that activity back to top of the funnel where it will cycle through until inevitably one of the other strategies will be executed on. And what you find is that something is continually wait. Often that happens is you develop the courage to do what you should have done in the first place, which is eliminated. How many urgent requests have you jumped on only to find out later that the project was cancelled or the recruitment changed? Procrastinating on purpose gives things time to die a natural death, or you discover some system for how to automate it, or someone rises up the occasion that it end up being delegated. A lot of people say, well, Rory, wait a minute. In the Take the Stairs book, you said the procrastinating is the killer of all success. And now you're telling us to procrastinate on its purpose? Yes, that is what I said, and it's exactly true. But there's a major distinction to realize that there is a difference in waiting to do something that we know we should do but don't feel like doing versus waiting to do because we are deciding that now is not the right time. Waiting to do something we should do but don't feel like doing, that's procrastination, the killer of success. That is driven by fear, laziness, or lack of discipline. Waiting to do something because we are deciding that now is not the right time, that isn't the procrastination, that isn't the killer of success, that's the virtue. It's an art form that the world really needs, which is patience. It is the patience to let a plan develop. It is a wisdom to know that not every door needs to be opened immediately. The patience to put off the insignificant things like checking email 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The constant checking is driven by urgency. Deciding to check your email only twice a day at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. is strategic choice. It is the procrastinating on purpose so you can concentrate on what is truly significant. You multiply your time by giving yourself the emotional permission to spend time on things today that create more time tomorrow. Regardless of your religious affiliation or your spiritual beliefs, hopefully you have appreciation for the way that scripture says the world was created. And in Genesis, God has created this perfect world. And it says something amazing: we are created in his image. And that is Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. He gives the first command to all humanity. What is that command? Thou shalt have no other gods before me? No. Is it? Love thy neighbor as thyself? No. God's first command to all the humanity: be faithful and multiply. Thank you.
The topic of our video is time management skills. To be specific, it's inspired from Rory Vaden's TEDx talk titled Multiplying Your Time. The goal of our video was to find practical lessons that can be implemented in our academic and eventual professional lives. We chose this topic because we believe time management is a universal issue that is faced by every generation and everyone. And we as students face this constantly. Juggling labs, classes, assignments, and our exams is very hectic for us. Thus, we decided to choose this topic so that it not only helps in our project but also helps in our day-to-day lives. The CEO we chose for our video was Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. We chose Satya Nadella since he is the CEO of Microsoft, and Microsoft is an integral part of everyone's daily lives. And we, being students, use it daily, be it the Windows operating system in our laptops or productivity tools such as Excel, Word, Teams that is being used every day by thousands of students. Thus, it felt more connected to our topic and us. The experience has been very insightful. The project required us to develop new skills in scripting, editing, and filmography, which we did not have earlier. And while we did face some challenges, the overall process was a rewarding one for us. We have faced many difficulties till now. A few of them would include coordinating and managing everyone's time so that we can suit everyone's part properly. And none of us was acquainted to speaking in front of a camera regularly. So it did take us multiple retakes for everyone to get the perfect part of the video. We also faced some technical issues such as sound and lighting issues. But in the end, everything did work out together and we were able to complete the video. Zoot has helped us a lot beyond the academics. It taught us how to plan a project from start to finish. It also taught us how to speak properly in front of a camera. And overall, this has helped us a lot beyond academics, which will definitely help us in our professional and future career too. I learned to appreciate a diverse skill set in our team. Each member brought a unique strength to the table. Someone had a pretty strong technical aptitude for editing videos. Someone excelled at structuring the narrative of the script, while someone excelled at finding the best possible rooms and camera angles. Overall, this was a clear demonstration of how a team's collective effort can outshine a single person working on a single project. The skills that I did identify in myself while making this project was I'm pretty good at script writing and directing the overall project. While I did not direct the whole project alone, but I did play a part in it, and it also made me forced to develop new skills such as on-camera communication skills, which is essential in the long run. Overall, this was a very good experience in a supportive environment of my friends. The project demanded more than just dividing tasks. It required true collaboration. We learned the importance of active listening while brainstorming and providing constructive feedback and criticism accordingly. We also learned the necessity of reaching a conclusion to serve the project's needs. The project taught us to compromise and sacrificing our own needs for the betterment of the team. Overall, it was a very effective team exercise. Personally, my responsibility was of script writing and editing the script of each and every member, and it was a wonderful experience for me. It made me realize an important lesson that a good script is the bedrock of every good video. The most enjoyable part of this video was the teamwork and bonding we built throughout the process. All of us came from different parts of India, and this project gave us a chance to know about each other and their cultures and backgrounds. We learned how to work together despite our differences, and honestly, that made the experiences really special. Over the time, we became good friends, had a lot of fun moments, and honestly, we enjoyed every bit of it. This project not only improved our team communication skills, but also helped us connect as a team and friends. And watching the final video gave us immense satisfaction. Thank you.